Hello, thank you for listening to this episode of the Mars October of Rants. Today's rant is going to be titled Leaving the Past. Sometimes, we'll talk to people and, they'll talk to us. And sometimes bringing up the past is something that people dislike to do. It's something that it's pretty much like a habit that they have where they're always thinking about the good old days or better times in their life, or, sometimes people will bring up the past because what's happening now, the present, isn't very good, or it's a shitty time. So they do it because they want to, like I said, remember a better time in their life. But there's a different part of bringing up the past that I feel like people do, and I think it's really fucked up that people do this, where you'll make a mistake or you will do something to someone and, you already explained why you did it, or maybe you even apologized. And it seems like the other person and you have moved on. But then, the other person will bring up what you did. They'll bring up the past once again. And, they just are bringing up old feelings and old, like tensions when it's unnecessary to be doing that. And some people just feel like they have to do that when they're upset with somebody. Like when you're mad at somebody, you're probably going to say whatever you can to make them upset with you or try to hurt them. So you're going to bring up whatever you can think of. And especially if you have a past with them, they're probably going to bring up the past to hurt you. And, like people just like to bring up the past in general, like they'll talk about, like, remember when we did this 15 years ago, and remember when we did this. And, after a while, I'm thinking, like, do I live amongst a community of archaeologists? They seem to be the only ones that want to preserve the past, not me. I'm moving forward to the future, It's okay to reminisce every now and then, and I have no problem with it, but some people are just so stuck in the past, and, they like to use the past against you, to try to hurt you, and, it's not something that you can ever really get away from. Like, I've explained this before in these videos, that me complaining about this, it doesn't make the problem stop, it's still going to happen. People are still going to talk about the past, regardless if this video makes sense to people or not, People are still going to do that, but it's really hard to, like, get away from your family because you're pretty much stuck with them unless you disown them and move thousands of miles away, which is not going to happen for me, at least. So you're kind of stuck with them. And, my dad is a big component of that behavior, bringing up the past all the time. And, it's really annoying. And, he'll bring up random things that happened in the past, and it's just so stupid and so irrelevant to even bring up. And, like, I understand another aspect of it, it's really convenient. Like, say you fucked over a bunch of people and say you did wrong to a bunch of people and they still remember it. And, you say, oh, that's irrelevant to me. The past is irrelevant. That can be pretty convenient when you fuck people over and then, want to move on and forget about it and say it's convenient. That's another side of it. That can be pretty selfish to do that, just to fuck up and then want to move on and never really make it right. But, when I make mistakes, I tend to make it right. I try to do right and make it right by the other person. So, it's different when they're bringing up the past when I already thought that we were cool. So there's a difference, because you can use that against you, or I should say against other people, not me. You could, like I said, make a bunch of mistakes and then say, like, that's irrelevant, let's move on, and then try to move on after you fuck up. But, there's many different aspects that I'm talking about the past, and, the past is a great thing, and I'm not trying to say thinking and talking about the past is bad. It's just, there's, like, a balance of it. You can't do it too much, or it just gets overwhelming. And, I'm already used to people trying to use the past to hurt me. So, it doesn't really bother me. People just, I feel like it's like a societal thing, or maybe it's human nature. I don't know, but people love to talk about the past, It's just something that people just love to talk about. I don't know, maybe it's the way we're wired, or maybe just people just don't know how to move on because they don't know how to live their life. I don't know, like, I do think about the past too. Like, to be fair, I do think about things I did and think about friendships I had, and sometimes, I'll think about where things went wrong or what I could have done to make the person stay, or what I could have said in that situation, or, like, I do the same thing too, but I try not to linger on it too much. But anyways, I'm going to leave this rant here. I've said enough. Thank you again for listening to this episode of the Morris October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.